10 stocks that if you are a beginner in the stock market, you should be looking into, okay? These aren't 10 stocks that you need to go buy, but these are 10 stocks that you should be looking into if you are somewhat newer in the stock market, meaning like you're in your first 6 months of investing. Maybe you've just been in it for a few weeks, maybe a few months you've been looking into things. I always get questions from people. It's like, when you're newer to the stock market, what type of company should you be looking into, okay? My main idea as far as if you're newer to the stock market, like the kind of companies you should be looking into are big corporations that are easy to understand and that are very profitable and that you probably use in your everyday life, because those are good starting points, because those businesses are usually easier to understand, guys. When you are trying to, get in the stock market, you don't want to be messing around with super complex corporations that you really have no clue about. Just because you're newer to the stock market, you don't want to be devastated on a company like that. And generally speaking, some of the smaller cap companies, some of the mid cap companies, they're a little riskier overall than some of the big companies that have huge competitive moats and whatnot, guys. So we're going to get into this. I hope you really enjoy it. By the way, if you are newer to the stock market, make sure after this video is over, you check out my stock market investing mastery course. It's the first link down there in the description, and that goes into literally everything I look for in a particular stock. It also has my private email address in there. That course should help you out phenomenally, guys. All right, so if you already figured out all these, you're probably a very advanced investor if you could figure out, everything in here. The first corporation is Pepsi, okay? Pepsi is the first one. This is a company that obviously makes, a ton of drinks that you probably drink in your everyday life or have drank at some point in your life. Ton of different soda brands they own. Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, Pepsi Max, Mountain Dew, a ton of different soda brands. They also own water brands. They also own a ton of juice brands. They also have a snack side of their business. This is a big, huge corporation that if you walk around your food store and you're looking at different kinds of drinks or different kinds of snack products, they're going to own a massive amount of those brands. Extremely profitable business. Billions upon billions of dollars each year this corporation brings in profits, and a very easy to understand business model. When you're looking into this business model, it's not going to be something complex. I'm going to kind of share, with you guys some of the reports you need to look at and whatnot if you want to really start researching companies, all right? This next one right down here, can you guess it? It is Apple. Apple Corporation. So many of you guys have some type of Apple device, okay? Apple is not a business model that is super complicated to understand. By the way, they're the most profitable company in the entire world that's a public company. I think even private corporations, nothing's even close to as profitable as Apple. They make smartphones, they make iPhones and iPads and Macs and a lot of things like that. They sell services, right? They sell, clouds services. They sell, all these different apps. Anytime you buy an app on any type of Apple device, they get a cut of that, all right? Anything like that, if you're subscribed to Apple Music, they make money on that. Anything like that, they make money on, guys. Extremely profitable corporation, very easy to understand. You guys more than likely use them in your everyday life, all right? Next one down here is Caterpillar, all right? Caterpillar, they make the main machinery that goes into most road building, most construction. If you drive, here in Las Vegas, like there's construction everywhere. There's homes going up all over the place. There are highways and roads getting worked on all over the place. Like I can't literally drive anywhere in Las Vegas without seeing a massive amount of Caterpillar equipment all over the place, guys. It's ridiculous. The amount of Caterpillar equipment that's in the little city I live in, Las Vegas, is ridiculous right now. It's all over the place. The Raiders Stadium's getting built. There's so much activity going on, right? And Caterpillar is the main machinery company that the majority of these job sites use, okay? It's the main ones I see by far and away. Caterpillar is a phenomenal corporation, very profitable business. Once again, a very, very easy business to understand, especially if you're someone that's in the construction field where you actually work in construction or whatnot. You're going to be very familiar with their equipment. You're going to understand some of the competitive traits they have, some of the, I guess you could say advantages they have versus some of their competitors and whatnot. Phenomenal corporation to look into. This next one, McDonald's, okay? McDonald's. Who doesn't eat at McDonald's at least once in a while, right? Unless you're like one of those super health nuts, you probably eat at McDonald's once in a while. Even if you live internationally, you probably still eat at McDonald's once in a while. Biggest fast food chain in the entire world, biggest, whatever you want to call it, food chain in the entire world. You don't just have to categorize it as fast food. There's no one bigger than McDonald's. Corporation makes a massive amount of money. They have been for a long time and will be for a long time into the future. Very easy business to understand, okay? their cost on, let's say, a cheeseburger is, I don't know, $1, they're going to sell it for, you know, $2 or $2.50 or whatever. And that's just their business model, all right? This next one is probably the least profitable, but it's still a business that brings in $2+ billion a year. And that rate is going to go up massively over the next few years. And it is Amazon, okay? Amazon. Now, Amazon's a really good corporation to look into if you're a beginner in the stock market. The reason is their first part of their business, the retail part, that's going to be the part you understand very well and how it works, okay? Because you're probably an Amazon customer at the end of the day. You probably own, or you probably, you know, order Amazon stuff all the time, maybe several times per week, maybe a few times a month or whatnot. You're going to understand that side of their business very well. But then the Amazon Web Services, you might not even know they have that business or really understand that. So the great thing about a company like Amazon is they have a part of their business, the main part of their business you can understand very easily because you're probably a customer of theirs. But the other part of their business, it's more of a challenge to understand because you're probably not a customer of it. You're probably not even very familiar with it, and that's Amazon Web Services. So that's a really good one to look into because it'll just kind of expand your mind on what different corporations can do in some different businesses and whatnot. So definitely one you want to at least look into if you're a beginner in the stock market. Number 6 up here is Google. Google McDougal. Good old Google. It's a stock I've owned in the past. I do not own any of it right now. Google. Who the heck doesn't use Google? Almost everybody uses Google to search. When you go to search, it's a premier search engine out there, right? Almost everybody, when they go to search something, I don't know how tall Mount Everest is to, you know, how do I cure my flu or whatever. Like most people are going to go to Google at the end of the day, okay? So Google, a phenomenal company to look into. They own Google Search. They own YouTube, which you're watching this on right now. They also own cloud services, which will be something you'll kind of expand your brain into, kind of like the Amazon Web Services, something that you might not understand that you just kind of like figuring out. They also sell a ton of devices. You know, Google Home, they're in the phone business now. They actually sell phones, Google branded phones now, the Pixel phones. A good business to look into, definitely super profitable, like unbelievably profitable. Great balance sheet on that company. All right, next one is somewhat similar, and that is good old Facebook. There's a high probability if you are watching this, you use at least one of Facebook services, at least one, if not all their services. They own the obviously Facebook brand, they own Instagram, and they own WhatsApp. They also own some other businesses, Oculus and things like that. But there's a high probability you are on at least Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, and you use those probably daily, and you might use all 3 of those, and they make advertising revenues on all those different products. And super profitable business. Their profits are just going through the roof right now. Easy to understand because you're probably a user of those, and you probably understand the ways they make money without even having to look into the business first. Once you actually start looking into it, it'll definitely be a business you understand. Next one up here is Visa. So Visa, everybody that pretty much has a debit card or credit card, it's probably got a Visa logo on it, right? If not, maybe it has MasterCard, but the majority of people, they have a Visa card of some kind. Not a lot of people even understand really how Visa works, so it's a perfect one to kind of look into because you'll kind of get some more insight on how that debit card you use all the time, how they actually make a little teeny bit of money every time they run a transaction. And think about all the people that have Visa cards all around the world and how often they use those. And think about, you know, if they're just making a few pennies each time those cards are swiped. Imagine what that adds up to, and it is amazing how profitable their business model is, guys. Definitely a business you'll want to look into if you're kind of newer to the stock market. Next one here, and this one's going to be big for any of my North American viewers, Costco. So many of you guys go to Costco all the time. Great business to look into. They own warehouses that sell a ton of different things. They buy in bulk. And then you as a consumer, you usually have to buy in bulk. They usually have, you know, a ton of different items that you have to buy a massive amount of, but you get it at a much cheaper rate usually than what you would pay at an average store. Great business to look into. Extremely profitable. Very good business. And the last one here is a little bit of a hard one to write out, and it is Berkshire Hathaway. What is Berkshire Hathaway? Well, that is Warren Buffett's company. That's Warren Buffett's company. He founded. He's the biggest shareholder of Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway is an extremely diversified business. They own everything from a chocolate business to an ice cream business to brick business to a train to huge, positions in companies like Coca-Cola and Bank of America and Wells Fargo and some of the biggest companies in the world. They're extremely diversified business. The amount of businesses they own or own a piece of is ridiculous, guys. So definitely a great business to look into to kind of expand your mind and whatnot. And obviously it's run by Warren Buffett, who's arguably the greatest investor ever and arguably one of the greatest businessmen of all time. Now, let's get into kind of what you need to be looking at as far as when you start to look into these companies, all right? So one report you need to look at, the main report you're going to need to look at, in my opinion, is the 10K, otherwise known as the annual report. This is going to be the main report you're going to want to look at. This is going to give you the majority of information you need about that company, what their business model is, what their risk factors are, what's going on with competitors, how they're attacking the market over the coming years, what their past profits are, revenue is, what their past balance sheet is, what their current balance sheet is, cash flow, any information you could pretty much want in a corporation. It's more than likely going to be located in that 10K or annual report as it's called. 10Q is the next one you're going to want to look at, which is basically a report that gets into what a company is doing in its latest quarter, okay? Whatever its latest numbers are, whatever's going on in that latest quarter, those are all things that are going to be talked about in that 10Q. Very important report to look at. Next thing you want to do is you want to listen to the conference call, okay? Latest conference call, if not a couple of conference calls, but for sure the latest conference call in that company. So if you're looking into Amazon, where you're going to want to start, you're going to want to look at the 10K, read all through that, see what you think, read through the 10Q, the latest quarterly report, then listen to the conference call, which is also on the investor relations. You can find all this stuff on the investor relations page of any public company, okay? So if you're looking into Amazon, literally go to Google, type in Amazon Investor Relations, click on that tab, and then go down and look at their reports and whatnot. All that stuff's going to be located in their investor relations page, and that's just how it is. You go Coca-Cola, investor relations, click on their page, all this type of information, all right? From there, you're going to look at all the statistics. You'll want to go to, find PE ratios and things like that. You can use something like a Yahoo Finance for that. Yahoo Finance is not as good as it used to be, but it still gets the job done as far as, if you want to look at ratios, and then you can go from there. But as far as looking into the company, you need to be going to the 10K, reading through that, the annual report. You need to be going to the 10Q, reading fully through that, and then you always need to be listening to the latest conference call. Through those things, and then once you find out what their PE ratios are and whatnot, through those things you can really make a judgment on a corporation. Then you can start Googling news about that company. So if you're looking into Apple, you can literally type in Apple into Google and just then click the news tab and just read news in relation to that corporation. Bad articles written about it, good articles written about it. What they're doing, what different websites are talking about them. Just kind of reading through all that and researching from there, guys. So those are the type of companies you really want to be looking into. Huge corporations that are highly profitable, that are really easy to understand. Those are perfect. That if you're a beginner in the stock market to kind of get your feet wet, then you can go from there. Once you've got experience, then you can go from there, guys. But make sure you get that experience in some of those companies, and then you can worry about trying to figure out this super complicated corporation over here, guys. So I hope this video helped you out tremendously, especially if you're a beginner in the stock market. Don't forget, click on that first link in the description if you want a full course on basically what everything I look into in a stock. It also has my private email address that you can actually contact me if you choose to, if you have any questions in relation to that course and whatnot. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.